Okay. There it is. I do, yeah. It's just like wind. It's just like wind. It's just something started. We weren't talking, I think. I hear myself hearing it, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So I see your mouth moving on YouTube, but I don't hear anything. I do. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like wind. It's just like wind. It's just something started. We weren't talking, I think. I hear myself hearing it, if that makes sense. Okay.
Why? Okay, now the freaky thing is whether or not I'm going to be able to record an Audacity with this. Because now I see, now you should start hearing my voice.
I see your mouth moving on YouTube, but I don't hear anything. I do. Yeah.
This is like total inception for me because I hear your conversation from a minute ago. So it's probably about another minute before it picks up. But it looks like I have
It's just like wind. It's just something started. There it is. We weren't talking, I think.
You hear me now? Okay, so the good news is now we have audio and we have a picture. And does the picture look okay in your browser? Is it like really super laggy and droppy?
Okay, so I'm muting YouTube. I assume it works now because I'm hearing you twice. That makes sense.
All right, so now...
So the picture on YouTube is mostly me.
Yeah,
I'm like 95%.
And here's the thing, because of the way Skype works, that's the dealio. Okay, now the freaky thing
I look fine. I think you look fine too, but it's hard to tell the picture quality of a corner.
Yeah. I mean, there's literally only so much that can be done in terms of I can't make that corner any bigger.
Okay.
And I can't make you any smaller because I don't have, unlike Spanners, I don't have a separate camera setup. So I can't switch shots.
Okay.
And I looked into using my fancy camera as a second camera, but it cannot be done. Cannot be done easily. So I would need a second webcam setup, and then I could add a separate shot of me so I could bounce back and forth. And that's what he does.
Fancy.
But given the fact that I've only got another 30 minutes to decide whether or not I can stream, record, and do all the rest of the good stuff, I'm going to do the following thing. I'm going to pop out the chat because it's also going to come down to is, am I going to overheat? I'm going to close that. Am I going to overheat my computer trying to make this work?
Gotcha.
So I can drag this down here on top of the Skype window because I can also see the Skype window in OBS. That's a good thing.
Part of me says we look fine, but someone turn off the stream.
But what?
Somebody needs to turn off the stream. Well, I think he's the only one watching it.
Yeah, well, that means you can kill. That means you can kill your volume. You can mute your YouTube now that we have sound and picture. Okay. Next step. Audacity. Spanners has no belief in me whatsoever. He's even worse than my frickin' wife.
It's
like my wife's like, "Oh, you can change a tire on a car?" I'm like, "Yeah." She doesn't think I can do anything. Which, admittedly, I may have encouraged in my younger years just so I had less to do, but it has come back to bite me. And you know what? All right, Audacity. Let's fire up Audacity.
Okay, so I've got some questions for you in the live stream. Where do you want me to put them?
We don't have a place yet.
Okay.
Okay. Keep on. Say some words for me, Nick.
Funnel Racing asks if you have any rumors about next year's engines. Blake's Boy is asking, what do teams do with all the old stuff? Do they keep a few bits for the museum? But there must be loads left over. How much of it, if any, can they recycle?
Okay. Oh, this is so fascinating. The volume in my headphones is so low, but I can see when I talk it looks fine on Audacity. And just for giggles, no, keep on going.
Keep on talking. Hey. Lance Lassen is saying that when discussing aero changes, the front wing is always a major talking point. What about the rear wing? Is there nothing that can or need to be done to change its effectiveness or importance, especially if DRS is ever eliminated? So I just want to say that if you do discuss that I'm sure Summers will talk about tire squirt and everyone can get a bingo square and all that, and that'll be good.
That will be very good. Shoot, doggone it. That's going to sound like crap. Sorry, everybody. Hold on. Let's do that, and then, there we go. All right. Sorry, I had the totally wrong settings on. I had the settings on for picking horn tracks out of MP3s.
A little bit different.
Not for discussing. Not for discussing actual. Not for recording podcasts, as it were.
Sure.
All right, hang on. Okay, am I clipping still? That's the only other worry about that. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this and have a wee listen back.
Okay.
And just say a few more words for me.
Okay. Michael from Ireland, someplace, is asking, is Mercedes' choice to stick with the long wheelbase for next year a good one? If the Scuderia gets some reliability and luck is the shorter wheelbase better in a whole season. He's also asking, will the McLaren be a match for the Red Bull next year with the same power unit? Can they beat a Newey car? Who designs the McLaren's car? And now Josh Geek is typing some sort of question.
Excellent.
I might ask Funnel Racing just to be more specific. He's asking about any rumors about next year's engines. It's like,
right.
About what?
I'm just trying to fine tune the audio settings before I get started on the board. Just get the gain right, and then we should be good to go from there. Oh, I probably don't need any headphones. Oh, stupid me. All right, say a few words now.
Okay. I don't know if you saw my question, but I posted it in Miss Apex admin chat 80-something messages ago. I'm going to find it here. Good thing nobody's waiting for me. Oh, I've gone back too far. Anyways, my question was basically that the main article about Formula One on motorsport.com right now is Sebastian Vettel came out and said that fans basically need to stop moaning about the lack of overtaking, and they also need to stop moaning about a boring race or two boring races in a row, because we always get a great one after that. And then Hamilton came back and basically agreed with him, but said that with the cars being wider and taking up more room on track, and also creating more dirty air before, that it is more difficult to overtake, and that he hopes that something will be done about that. So what is something that could be done about that? And does something even need to be done about that? Because I didn't even realize that there was less overtaking this year until it was pointed out. And I think that the season was plenty exciting because there was parity in a championship battle. I think just passing isn't what makes it a great sport. That'd be a different motorsport series, I think.
Excellent. All right, so now still doing fine. Let me check in with this real quick. All right, so throttling happens at 100. I'm at 92 right now. Very exciting. Should be okay. Should be okay. Not the frame rate isn't fantastic, but if I'm going to record on Audacity, then there may just be no other choice. It just may have to be what it is.
Josh Geek is asking what effect the halo will have on airboxes, and if we'll see strangely shaped airboxes as a result of trying to work around this.
Well, and all of this work is apparently for naught, as Spanners just got power back.
Oh.
But you know what? You're a freaking champion, Nick Alexander. You're a champion. Diving in. Let me just confirm then, so I can stop.
So we're back on Plan A.
Yep.
Which is more of a pre-prepared technical season review. Is that right?
This is, look, if you're looking at this now, I'm just going to tell you, Summers has gone insane. There will be nothing of its like anywhere on the internet. If you can watch this, you should watch it. You're going to learn what a canard is, what a footplate is. You're going to, all those things you hear them talking about, you're going to know where they're located, and everything he's talking about will have an accompanying technical diagram and picture with a colored arrows on it. So like even people like me can find it, which visually I find oftentimes is a real challenge. And we're going to talk about the development of the main players in the championship race. We're going to talk about Red Bull, we're going to talk about Ferrari, and we're going to talk about the Mercedes. When it's done, they're going to be separate videos you can watch of each car. This is like going to be the most awesome thing we have ever attempted.
Gotcha. And just to prove how awesome Summers is even one step further, he's offered to send me all of his sketches to my email address so they can print out any that I like for my apartment decoration.
All right, we're getting some audio through. Dare I play it on air?
Sure.
Okay, power is on. So at the moment, it can deliver Plan A. It did flick on and off a couple of times, but this looks more steady. And I heard next door cheering. So Plan A then. Let's do this. Well done, everyone. Good contingency work.
Yeah, that's about all the thanks I ever get on this show. Sorry, I don't do it for thanks. Oh, man. And by the way, Bernard Purdy, drummer on Aretha Franklin, anything that you have heard. He recorded over 4,000 albums. I got to meet him at last night's gig. He was backstage.
Awesome.
He's like the not even the Lewis Hamilton. He's like the
Quincy
Jim
Jones.
Clark. You know, he is like one of the masters of American music in that style. And he was backstage. And can I tell you, the drummer for the band was like losing his mind. He's like, oh my God, I have to go play. And Bernard Purdy is in the audience. Did a little. He had a little practice pad. Did a little, all the way up until showtime.
Little anxious energy there.
It was awesome. Yeah. Anyway, so that was a little bit of a very exciting and completely non-related. I've just got to get it out of my system now before the show. Anyway.
I feel like everybody on the WhatsApp group is off meeting this guy and Damon Hill, and Neil apparently knows Will Buxton. I'm just here.
Yeah, well, you know what? We got to get you up to New. We got to get, because we got Patrick in Boston. You're in Charlotte. New York is a convenient meeting place, and we got to get like a little northeast gathering. We go do like a little. We could go have our own karting event and not invite the UK people. They're always very smug about that.
Yeah, no, we should. I mean, enjoyed every time I've met somebody from the show, because I met Hannah and Felix in Spanners, and then I met Cody in Portland, and then I met Dakota in Oregon.
Yeah.
As well, and I haven't been murdered yet.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's always worked out.
It has generally worked out for me too. The people I've met on the internet have always been nice folk, and because you have a shared interest, it's never any of that awkward.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we even have like more than one shared interest, and it can be like really creepy sometimes. Like I swear, like me and Rory are the same person.
Well, you know what's funny about that?
We're also both bird watchers, which is like really obscure. And Felix too. And Felix runs, and it's like okay, so it's a runner, bird watcher, F1 podcast enthusiast.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be like 8 of us.
Well, see, it's a funny thing. Like, did you ever read any Isaac Asimov when you were a kid? Because like you're a reader.
No,
I as a musician, I've read so many books because you sat there in boring rehearsal forever. You always bring books. You're always on a train or anyway. You never read that. He had a trilogy called the Foundation Trilogy, and I read it when I was a kid. But the thesis of it, or like one of the underlying principles of it, was like the universe or whatever world he was writing in had been taken over by like this evil dictator. But he used sociology and statistics to be able to predict. And what I remember most about it was that although the social sciences can't predict the behavior of individuals at all, if you put people into a group and know enough about them, it can very finely predict like who's into what and what they're likely to do. And I'm seeing this like starting to happen now with like the Facebook analytics and stuff like that. You can start to put together groups that, for example, in politics, which voters are persuadable, like who might change their minds and who is just like not even worth spending money on because they're committed to the cause. And I think the same has been true a long time for advertising. If they get a group of people who like thing A, then if you give me 100,000 people who like thing A, I know that 8,000 of them will like thing B, C, D, and E as well.
I'll never forget.
And it is freaky because when you have a passionate interest like that, then you start to meet people. You're like, we're living parallel lives here.
It can be super freaky. I remember in some sort of econ class, maybe it was a marketing class in college, so 7-8 years ago, but they were talking about Target had a research campaign to identify pregnant women.
Oh my God, I remember this.
To target them for advertising, to get them in, because all the sociology, all the research said that when you have a major life change like that, you're willing to reevaluate many of your day-to-day decisions that may have been entrenched before, but like, you might say like, well, I shop at Harris Teeter, or I shop at Publix, or I shop at Walmart exclusively. But now that you're pregnant and you need baby supplies, you're willing to reevaluate that whole premise.
Yes.
And so they're trying to get you in then, because then once you have the baby and life goes back to normal, now you're in a new rut. You're entrenched in them. And it got to the point where they were so accurate at identifying who was pregnant that they were actually identifying women who did not, in fact, know themselves that they were pregnant. But it's just the things that you Google and the things that you start to buy before you even buy the pregnancy test.
Yeah.
It was enough of a leading indicator. And they're like, famously, like it is creepy. It made somebody really mad. He went storming in there or calling corporate or whatever, saying, how dare you send my 16-year-old daughter coupons for diapers every freaking week. There's no way that this is just what you're sending out to everyone. And they're like, well, sir, we're sorry to be the ones that have to tell you, but we can know with 84% certainty.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 16% chance that she's not knocked up, but there's an 84% chance she is. You may want to have a talk.
Not as accurate as peeing on a stick, but pretty good.
No. And see, and that's where it all went wrong. Like the basic premise of it was pretty clever, but they didn't use the algorithm cleverly in the sense that they should not have targeted anybody underage, and if they were going to target people, it needed to be in a more private way, because imagine, and this is not the only situation, but there were people who were in abusive relationships and there were people who didn't want other people to know, and you've just completely blown that person's privacy. So, I mean, this is the flip side of that kind of technology. Is oftentimes it gets applied first, and then like when you see, it'd be like, oh, look, I have a new medicine for this. Let's just give it to everybody. And then you get all the side effects reported like, oh, sudden death. Yeah, that's probably bad. We should probably, I mean, it's the same thing.
Some subjects reported sudden death, but it doesn't mean that
everybody will suffer sudden death. No, but you get my point. It's a thing where, because the technology is new, they don't often think through all of the consequences. They're just like, oh, look, it's a cool thing, and how useful is it if you were pregnant to be getting this stuff right when it's good for us, and it's good for them too. I mean, I'll admit, Target sells stuff, and especially when you're having a kid, the economics of having a kid is very, very different to just being an adult with a partner. So, suddenly like having a low cost, convenient source of X, Y, or Z is something that you're like, coupons. Yeah, we'll use them all, because suddenly you have a whole extra human being that you're going to have to pay for pretty much the rest of your life, including college, which is not cheap, let me tell you. And so it's an expensive proposition. So you suddenly like, okay, well, I don't really need to buy $17 organic lemons, do I? No, really. A lemon is a lemon. It will be fine. And that goes right along with it. But they don't think through the full consequences in every circumstance, and they can't.
Right.
But
and what's funny,
they didn't at all make an attempt, and I think that's where it went wrong.
Yeah, I think it's funny to me to watch more of the mainstream public become aware of some of these kind of privacy concerns. And it's like, Google's been Big Brother for 10 years, but now a lot of people are like, hey, Amazon's putting cameras and microphones in every room in my house.
Yeah.
Is that potentially bad? And it's like, yeah. Yeah, we've been talking about that kind of stuff in science fiction or dystopian, whatever,